This is a quarter note. It's worth 1 beat. This is a quarter rest. It's also worth 1 beat, but of nothing. This is a measure. In it, you put notes and rests. It's like their house. This note hired an interior designer. Century Modern, nice. Finally, this is a time signature. This tells us how many notes and rests can fit in the house. Measure. This time signature is called 4/4. The top number tells us how many beats can fit in each measure. Kind of. Because the top number is 4, there are 4 beats per measure. The bottom number tells us what kind of note gets 1 beat. Kind of. If the bottom number is 4, the 4 represents a quarter note. This means that the time signature that says 4/4 is actually saying 4 quarter notes. 4/4 tells us that there are 4 quarter notes in each measure. Time signatures are definitely not at all confusing and most people understand them right away. Here's a measure of 4 quarter notes. I'm going to count them first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want you to try it. Ready, get, set, go. Nice job. Now here's a measure of 4 quarter rests. When you count these, you can either leave it silent or say shh. I recommend shh because it'll teach your brain to recognize rests actively, which in turn will lead you to developing a better sense of rhythm. 4 quarter rests sound like this. Now, it's your turn. Ready, get, set, go. Awesome job. You can create all kinds of different rhythms simply by switching out the rests and notes. However, the number is always going to be in the same place. For example, this last note is always going to be counted as 4 because it's the 4th beat in the measure. It's not 3 because the 3rd beat is right here. You just say shh because it's covered by a rest. Oh hey, would you look at the time? It's drill time! First side count, then you repeat. Ready? Let's begin. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2,
1,
1, 3, 4.
1, 4.
1, 3,
1, 3,
2, 3, 4.
4.
1, 4.
1, 4.
3.
3.
Great job. Moving. This is a half note. It's worth 2 beats. This is a whole note. It's worth 4 beats. This is a half rest. It's worth 2 beats of rest. And this is a whole rest. It's worth 4 beats of rest. Now, how do we count these? Let's start with the rests. These are pretty simple. You just say shh on every beat. So your half rests are counted shh, shh, and your whole rests are counted shh, 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 shh. The notes are a bit more challenging, and there are lots of different ways to count them. I think the best method is you start on the number, and then you bounce your voice for every following beat the note is held to. For example, the whole note would be counted like this.
1.
Like saying shh on the rests, bouncing your voice helps you think about held notes actively and helps you develop your internal pulse, which is extremely important to have in music. 2 half notes would be counted like this. 1, 3. Notice that beats 2 and 4 are contained within these 2 half notes. This is why we're skipping over them. And hey, would you look at the time again? It's another drill time. Same as before. First side go, then you repeat. 1.
1.
1, 3.
1,
1.
1,
3.
3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 3, 4.
1, 3, 4.
1, 2, 4.
1,
2, 4.
2, 4.
3, 4.
3, 4.
2,
2,
4.
4.
Okay, one measure of call and response is easy, but what's actually more difficult is counting the rhythms correctly with multiple measures of music. Here are 4 measures of rhythm. Look at it, figure it out in your brain. You're going to try it first, then we do it together so you can tell if you did it right. Prepare yourself. 1, 2, ready, go.
3, 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1.
Okay, let's do it together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 4.
1,
2, 4.
1.
Did you do it correctly?
Yeah.
If so, let's move on. Next example. Pause the video if you need to, take a look at it, and when you're ready, give it your best shot. 1, 2, ready, go.
1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 2, 4.
Alright, now together with me. 1, 2, ready, go.
1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
2, 3, 4. 2.
4.
Next example. When you think you got it, give it a shot. 1, 2, ready, go.
1, 3, 2.
And now with me. 1, 2, ready, go.
1, 3, 2.
Next example.
Yeah.
Take a look. 1, 2, ready, go.
1, 3, 1, 4. 3, 4. 4.
Alright, now together with me. 1, 2, ready, go.
1, 3, 1, 4. 3, 4. 4.
Did you do all that correctly? If so, congratulations, you now know the basics. If you found this video helpful, then let us know in the comment section down below. As always, remember to leave a like and subscribe. I'm Mr. Mencho, and I'll see you next time. This is a flat sign. This is a sharp sign. And this is a natural sign. These 3 symbols are called accidentals, and they change the way that we read notes.
Accidental.
The flat sign makes a note low. The sharp sign makes a note higher. And a natural sign indicates that a note should be played normally. This is the note G. If we put a flat sign in front of it, then we get a new note, G flat. The note G flat is lower than G by exactly 1/2 step. If we take our G and add a sharp to it, then we get this new note, G sharp, which is higher than G by 1/2 step. The natural sign would cancel a note that is sharp or flat back to normal. And you would need to do that because of a weird little rule in music which we call the 1 measure rule. An accidental on a note lasts an entire measure. It's weird and a little confusing, so let me explain. Look at this measure. We have 1 E flat here and 3 E's here. However, because of the 1 measure rule, all of these notes are considered E flat. These E's on the measure after are just normal E's. Why? Because of the 1 measure rule. Accidentals only last for 1 measure. This is why we need natural signs. Take this measure with 4 Fs. This first F is a regular F, or natural F. This second F is F sharp because of the sharp sign. The third F is also F sharp because of the one measure rule. This natural sign now changes the F sharp back into F natural, or normal old F. One last thing about the one measure rule, it only applies to the same note, not different notes. So this sharp sign on the note C will only affect this other note C in the measure. This note here is just regular F, or F natural. The sharp does not affect it because it is not the note C. It is a different note. I hope that makes sense. Sharp and flat notes are what we call in-between notes. If you start on an A and you go up one note, you get a B. The in-between note is A sharp, which is an A that is higher. It is also the note B flat, which is B, but lower. Meaning that A sharp and B flat are basically the same exact note. These are what we call notes that are enharmonic to each other. C sharp is enharmonic to D flat. D sharp is enharmonic to E flat. F sharp is enharmonic to G flat. And G sharp is enharmonic to A flat. The only notes that do not have in-betweens are B to C and E to F. Why is this? If you see a B sharp, it's just a C. If you see an F flat, it's just an E. And now you may be asking, why, Mr. Mento? Why ever use F flat? And why would you just use E instead? And to that I say, my sweet son, some doors are better left unopened. Once you begin opening the door of bars of music theory, there is no returning back to the world that you know. But anyway, that's it on accidentals. Hope you learned something today. As always, I'm Mr. Mento, and I'll see you next time. This is a half step. This is also a half step. Here's a few more. So basically, the half step is the smallest interval.
Interval, the distance between two notes.
The half step is the distance between two adjacent notes on the keyboard. In other words, the notes that are right next to each other. If you play nothing but half steps from C to C, you get what we call a chromatic scale. The half step is the smallest interval, unless of course you count the unison, which is when you play two of the exact same note. In that case, the half step is the
Seconds.
smallest interval. So we have the unison, which is two of the same note. And we have the half step, which is two notes that are direct neighbors to each other. Then, when we take two half steps and put them together, we get our next interval, the whole step. Pop quiz, what note is a whole step above E flat? Correct, it's this one. There are a lot of intervals. For example, the minor third, the major third, the perfect fourth, the tritone, the perfect fifth, the minor sixth, the major sixth, the minor seventh, the major seventh, and the octave. We'll cover all of those more in depth later, but for now you want to remember these four. The unison, the half step, the whole step, and the octave. In the next lessons, we'll be going over chords and scales, and we'll be using these terms, so make sure you have them down by then. And that's all for today's video. As usual, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Mento, and I'll see you next time.
I've always wanted to learn how to play piano.
This is the note C. This is a C that's higher. And this is a C that's lower. Here's a few more. You might notice that it all sounds different, but it all sounds like C. That's why even though pianos have so many keys, this is is only 12 notes. These are the 12 notes we use in music. This looks not so good. So let's use a keyboard to visualize them. Much better. The keyboard is the quintessential way to think about notes. Let me explain. This is a C. C is always to the left of these two black keys. From there we just go up in alphabetical order. So this is D, E, F, G. We don't use H. We actually go back to A, B, and then we arrive at C, one octave higher. From there, you just repeat the same thing. Oh, and by the way, this is the C major scale. Now, you may be wondering, why start on C, why not start on A? And to that I say, we don't do that. Okay, so now we know the white keys, but what about the black keys? Well, the black keys are our in-between notes, and each black key has two names, a sharp name and a flat name. Sharps make notes higher. If this note is a C, well, adding a sharp makes it this note, C sharp. And as you can probably guess by now, flats work the opposite way. If this is a D, then D plus a flat makes this note, D flat. So, knowing what we do now, these are the names of the white keys, these are the sharp names of the black keys, these are the flat names of the black keys, and this is what it looks like all together. Okay, but let me answer the question you're probably not asking. What about when it looks like this? So, this looks kind of confusing, but it's not really a big deal if you can remember one simple rule. C is to the left of the two black keys. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, notice the black keys are in groups of 2, 3, 2, 3, and so on. If C is to the left of the two black keys, then C is here. It's also here, here, and here. Then we can go in alphabetical order and just figure out this. And then we can figure out the black keys too. Now, obviously this will take time and practice to memorize, and check out this video, which is hilarious and a great way to memorize the notes on the keyboard, and this site, which is a virtual piano you can play with your mouse or keyboard. It even lets you hide the note names so you can quiz yourself. However, the best way to learn is to just play some music and practice. Eventually, it'll be second nature. And that's all for this lesson. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Mento, and I'll see you next time. And now you may be asking, why, Mr. Mento? Why ever use F flat? And why would you just use E instead? And to that I say, oh my sweet summer child, some doors are better left unopened. Once you begin opening these doors, watch it music theory, there is no returning back to the world that you know. Uncircular breathes, part 2. This is how you hold a note forever. Hey, let's learn how to circular breathe. Basically, it's a way to breathe while you play your instrument. Looks like this.
Play E flat with your thumb, then up to B flat in your pinky, and go down one note and up one note. And do that on A flat, down one note and up one note. Those two notes again can end on E flat and G flat. Now switch your guitar. Play E.
Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be explaining how to use flat. Quite a few questions about what is meant by sharp and flat. Also, a girl specifically asked me to do a video on it, so here it is. So let's look at a random black key. This is known as E flat or D sharp. You can call it either. It's E flat because it's the black key on the left of the right E, so it's on the left of E, so it's E flat. It's D sharp because it's the black key on the right of D. So this is D, it's on the right of it, it's black note directly after it, so it's D sharp. E flat is written with a lowercase b after it, so it's E with a lowercase b. It's got nothing to do with the actual B key that's over here. It just means flat and it can be applied to any black key that is on the first left of the white key. The sharp symbol is a hashtag and it can be applied to any black key on the left of the white key.
In Western music, we have 12 unique pitch classes, 12 notes. 7 of these notes are named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet. Then we also have these 5 extra notes shoved in between the 7 alphabetical notes. These are the black notes. These black notes each have 2 names. Depending on context, they are either the sharp of the note to their left, for example, C sharp, or they are the flat of the note to their right, for example, D flat. But the question that every musician has asked at some point is, why is there no black note in this gap or this gap? Why is there no B sharp and no E sharp? Or why is there no C flat or F flat? Well, the first step to understanding why there is no note in these 2 gaps is to first ask, why are there gaps here in the first place? If we wanted to, we could arrange our 12 notes, our 12 standard notes of Western music, like this, with no gaps at all. Wouldn't this make more sense? After all, it would make the octave physically narrower so the human hand could play wider intervals, wider chords, and we could still work out which note is which by marking one of them in red, like we do on a harp. Well, the reason that we don't arrange our keyboard like this, and instead use this familiar layout of the 2 gaps, all comes back to one major part of Western music, the major scale. As you probably know, the white notes on the piano actually make a major scale. If we play all of the white notes from C to C, we get a C major scale. And as you may have guessed, this is not a coincidence. The layout of the keyboard ultimately stems from the major scale and its importance in Western music. All major scales follow a pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. That's literally the gaps between the notes that defines the major scale. A semitone is the smallest interval we use in Western music, and a tone is just 2 semitones. So the short answer for why we don't have a note in this gap or this gap is because there is, so to speak, no note there. There's no room to fit another note in. The notes C and D, for example, are a tone apart, 2 semitones, so there is space in between to fit another note, D flat or C sharp. Same goes for between D and E, and G, G and A, and between A and B. But because E and F are only a semitone apart, and B and C are only a semitone apart, and the semitone is the smallest interval we use in Western music, we can't have a note in between E and F or between B and C. These notes are already as close as possible within our Western system. So if we're going to keep the semitone as our smallest interval, we don't actually need a note between E and F or B and C. But even if Western music uses the semitone as the smallest interval, from a pitch perspective, from a frequency perspective, there is still technically space between E and F or B and C to fit another note. There are intervals smaller than semitones, we just don't commonly use them in Western music. If we cut the interval of a semitone in half, we can get a quarter tone, giving us space to fit another note in between these notes. These would be what we call half sharps. For example, we'd have a B half sharp or an E half sharp. In fact, we could have an extra note between any of the notes on our keyboard, not just in these gaps. We could have a G half sharp or a D half sharp. We could even refer to these notes by different names. We could call our B half sharp a C half flat if we wanted to. These half sharp or half flat notes are called microtonal notes. Notes smaller than those that we usually get in Western music. If you'd like to learn more about microtonality, however, this still doesn't explain why.
Yeah.
In typical Western music, the smallest interval that we deal with, the smallest gap between two notes, is a semitone, otherwise known as a half step. On a keyboard, for example, the smallest interval I can go up or down from any note is a semitone. But even though we can't play them easily on a keyboard, there are pitches between these two notes. For example, this C here has the frequency of 261.6 Hz. That's the frequency at which the sound waves are vibrating to create the pitch. But the next note up, the C sharp, jumps up to 277.2 Hz. So there's certainly space in between these two frequencies. So what would happen if I played a note pitched between C and C sharp? This pitch is 269.4 Hz, the note halfway between C and C sharp, and what we would call C half sharp. Even the untrained ear can hear that this note is distinctly different from either the C or the C sharp. So why isn't it available on my keyboard? Why don't people use half sharps when they write music? Well, some musicians and composers do, and the music they write using these sub-semitone intervals is known as microtonal music. Western classical composers have been experimenting with microtonality since at least the turn of the 20th century. Our standard Western tuning system is known as 12-tet, or 12-tone equal temperament, because it divides the octave into 12 equally spaced pitches. But composers like Wyszynski and Ives used alternative systems that divided the octave up into even smaller divisions, most commonly 24 divisions, doubling our standard 12 pitches. They went about this most often by writing for two pianos, one tuned a quarter tone flatter than the other, meaning that between the two pianos they had access to 24 notes per octave. In Wyszynski's Prelude No. 1, he takes advantage of the 24 quarter tones by running up and down them in this ultra-chromatic scale. In this excerpt from Charles Ives' three-quarter tone pieces, the focus of the music is quickly swaying back and forth between the two pianos, moving like a pendulum between 12-tet tuning and 24-tet tuning. In the brief moments when we're only hearing one of the two pianos, we experience just standard 12/10 tuning. But as the second piano re-enters again and the two overlap, we are plunged once more into the microtonal murkiness. When we look at the sheet music, we won't actually see any quarter-tone accidentals, that is, any half-sharps or half-flats, because each piano on their own isn't actually playing any microtonal intervals, but it's the interaction between these two pianos tuned a quarter tone apart which creates the microtonality. So microtonality has been used in some experimental classical music, but can we find it in any modern pop or rock music? Perhaps the most common place to find microtonality in Western music is with instruments that can slide or glissando between the standard 12 pitches. For example, at the start of Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin, the clarinet glides seamlessly from this low F up to this high B flat. If the clarinet was restricted to the 12-tone system like the piano is, the glide would sound like this. But because the clarinet can access the notes between the standard 12 pitches, it can achieve this smooth, seamless glide. In modern electronic pop music, a glide like this is often called a riser. For example, this riser from just before the chorus of Uptown Funk. Like the clarinet glissando in Rhapsody in Blue, risers like this are taking advantage of the notes between the notes, as otherwise they couldn't achieve this seamless, tension-building climb. On guitar, the string can be bent so that the note that is sounding is somewhere in between two standard pitches. Notes are often bent like a quarter tone rather than a semitone, giving us a microtonal note. This is a very common technique in the blues, or at least music that's been influenced by the blues, like rock. For example, the bass riff from Are You Going to Be My Gal by Jet features a quarter tone bend. When the D is bent up here, it only rises up to D half sharp, rather than reaching all the way up to our usual D sharp. As the note is so brief and ornamental, it can be hard to hear the difference here, but there certainly is one. When I play the two different notes in isolation, for example, the difference is much clearer. This is D natural followed by a normal D sharp. And this is what Jet do, D natural followed by D half sharp. In the context of the song, whether or not this note is a D sharp or a D half sharp, it is acting as a blue note. Microtones are perfect for use as blue notes, as blue notes are notes that are added from outside of the scale to add a sense of tension, and what could be more out of the scale than a microtone? But perhaps the best suited instrument in Western music for microtonality is the voice. The human voice is of course not constricted to any tuning system, so it can easily sing any and all intervals if properly trained. For example, it's common for singers to ornament their melodies by gliding between two different notes of the scale. In the song Misery Business by Paramore, at the end of the chorus, Hayley Williams slowly slides between these two notes, spending a reasonable amount of time in the space between the standard pitches. This slow, deliberate slide between the two notes makes use of those microtonal dissonant notes in between. The only issue, though, with referring to slides and glissandos as a microtonal is that they are almost always just passing through a microtonal note en route to a standard pitch. They don't rest on the microtonal note long enough, really, for the listener to register it. Is there any pop or rock music that uses microtonal intervals with the same weight as normal intervals, rather than a small seasoning on top of our standard tonality? Is there any music that uses microtonal intervals instead of our usual tonalities? Well, in 2017, Australian rock band King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard released their album Flying Microtonal Banana, which is written using 24-tet tuning that divides the octave into 24 pitches instead of 12, much like the classical composers we were talking about earlier. The band achieved this 24-tet tuning by using purpose-built microtonal guitars that featured additional frets on the neck to access the microtonal notes. Stu Mackenzie from King Gizzard originally wrote this record to be played on his baglama, a Turkish instrument which has frets placed at intervals that are close to what Western musicians would consider quarter tones. Have a listen to their tune Rattlesnake that is written in F sharp minor, but with a half-flattened second degree, giving us a G half sharp rather than G sharp, and also a half-sharpened sixth degree, giving us a D half sharp rather than a D natural. To their tune Rattlesnake that which has frets rather than harmonic spaces between the standard pitches as they do on them, leading to a G half sharp major. Where Jacob demonstrates that prior to the modulation, his song is perfectly in tune with a standard piano. But then only 4 chords later, he has fairly seamlessly modulated us a quarter tone out of standard tune, meaning that the music is now out of tune with the piano.
Four magical chords.
The 4 chords that Jacob uses here.
Six years ago, Harry's founders Jeff and Andy bought a factory in Germany so they could sell the reference to 453 hertz and then tuning normally. There we go. Equal temperament and type 10's tuned to 10-tone equal temperament. Now, why are we using 10-tone equal temperament? Well, there's a really interesting subset of it called the equipentatonic scale. This is a 5-note scale where each of the scale degrees is exactly the same distance from one another. It sounds like this.
By this point, I've talked about a bunch of scales, but I've never really gone in depth and explained what tonality even really means. Or wait, you know how many named and documented scales there are? There's at least like... We'll see some examples of that in a second, actually. But first, let's take a look at probably the most common scale in the West, which we already saw a minute ago. The major scale is constructed as follows. Starting from our root, a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and then half step back to our root. An important concept when it comes to a scale as a tonality is our tonic or one chord, the chord built off of the first note of the scale. This chord is crucial in establishing tonality. Typically, this is our most stable chord that we want to move around and resolve to. Our third note is the fan favorite Phrygian, Orphonites theme from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Order. Scales normally span a single octave, therefore they start and end on the same note. The name of any given scale is based on the first note, called the root or tonic, and the relativity of the following notes to our root. their own though, scales don't really mean anything. They can on their own though, scales don't. Microtonality is perceived as being perhaps the scariest topic in all of music, even at so-called Berkeley. So speaking of cents, we mentioned that 100 cents is the distance of a semitone, giving us 1200 cents between an octave. What this means is, if we divide the octave by 24 and fill in every 50-cent interval between these semitones, that gives us a 24-tone chromatic scale. If we take this one step further and have a note every 25 cents, that gives us 48 tones. This is what happens in a section of the intermediate races for Marble Madness. I'll start it with the formula for context. Bananas. This section features these circusy jumping chords in 5. Now before I conclude the video, I'm happy to announce that my Patreon is now live. This video is a sequel to my original time signature. It's close enough. Battle 1 from Fire Emblem Gaiden, but we'll look at the Smash Ultimate version. Prime, but the way it's divided here is rather teen, has 2 measures of 5, 2 measures of 6, and 3 measures of 3. Video. Ignore back to both boss battles and prime numbers. I'm still kind of sad that Strong One Masked Man isn't in 29, but I found something that is. That boss weapon can go from very I suppose 8/8 if you want, but the last 3 eighth notes are cut off. I suppose. Definitely one of the most requested chapters in that. One of the Phoenix Writing examination themes with a larger time signature of 27/8. Isn't prime, being 9 threes, but this tune breaks the threes up to instead give us a 14 plus 13, or breaking it down further, 3-3-3-3-2 plus 3-3-3-2-2. Example of 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2, just sending one of those 3's to the back, giving us 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3. And yet, as cool as all of these are, I still don't really believe. Or Cloud Top Cruise from Mario Kart 8. Is allegedly different from 4-4 in that the division is strongly asymmetrical, being built on that 3 plus 3 plus 2. This groove is super fun because it has that dragging asymmetry of 5 or 7, but has the stability of 8. Time signatures are in right now. There is a gigantic list of tunes every section. Theme from League of Legends. Eighth notes. It's just such a brilliant tune that combines this artificially constructed element with a melody that just feels so organic. Composer Yupeng Chen has gone on record confirming that this was in fact hard to hear. It's the Fibonacci sequence. Essentially, every measure is the length of the sum of the previous 2 measures. 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8, so on and so forth. It's such an uncommon way of composing in general, using a mathematical formula as the basis for time signature changes. But what I love about this is how organic it sounds. If you're listening to this in-game or even just for fun, the melody doesn't really provide much rhythmic information, and it's hard to discern the true nature of the mixed meter. It just sounds like these through-composed loops that go faster near the end of the loop. It's hard to hear any phrase length, as the sentence of sorts sounds like one long idea without any clear, easily recognizable divisions until the loop. But the Fibonacci sequence mixed meter is still easy to hear as long as you listen for the hits underneath and count the eighth notes. It's just such a brilliant tune that combines this artificially constructed element with a melody that just feels So what is mixed meter? This is for sure one of the shorter concept explanations, as it's just a mixture of time signatures or metric fields within a piece of music. It's actually... Before we get into all the cool music theory, first a word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Lol AI. In the discussion of wacky time signature... But anyways, the point is, it's always kind of disappointing to find something that looks really cool on paper and then it's just one big sham. 2916 and 15/8 are not only interesting, but very uncommon, especially if we're only looking at video game music. I think especially when transcribing, it's important to think about intent versus what's actually heard. Even though the numbers don't add up, it's very powerful. 30-second music theory. Let's take a listen to the chorus from Music for a Sushi Restaurant. The vocal harmony consists of 4 simple major chords, but only the first one is diatonic to the key signature F sharp major. The rest are jazzy or borrowed chords. Another thing that's neat is the horn line, implying notes. After the ice video, many have requested other environments and elements as a video topic. So here's the second video in my Elements mini-series. Oh wait, I guess that's taken. The second video in my Environments mini-series, where we'll take a look at how video game composers have historically evoked the sound of water.
I am under...
What makes a chord sound interesting? Things like this. 30-second music theory. I'm gonna say it right now, Turning Red had the best film soundtrack of 2022, no cap. Now, the fictional band in the movie Four Town and their song Nobody Like You is an obvious parody of the Backstreet Boys and probably their song Everybody, because they both have very similar chord progressions. But what you probably didn't notice is that the main character May's theme also uses these exact same 3 chords. Subscribe for more, also please leave suggestions. Time signatures are cool. I've always been fascinated by the... Alright, so 1/4 doesn't really exist.
Oh my god.
The faster the tempo gets, the shorter the note value per beat. So slower songs in 6 would perhaps be written in 6/4, while faster tunes would perhaps be written in 6/8. We'll see some exceptions later, though, in each signature, since I think that's generally harder to accomplish and more indicative of the tendencies and patterns each time signature provides. Alright, cool. So now let's take a look at some... The bottom number will always be a power of 2, so either 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, etc. And the number corresponds to what kind of note is considered the beat. If the bottom number is 4, then that means 1/4 note is considered.
That's cool. Who doesn't fucking love grease on their hands? Oh, dude, this smells fucking rented. The Jack Daniels sticks. Someone said Santa fired him 2 days ago. He was going fucking through.
Fucking idiot.
For the last thing in this video, I'm gonna get the
hottest chicken I can find. We're gonna try this. Oh shit. Bro, I can like feel the radiation like coming off, bro. Oh, bro, I gotta open up the milk. I gotta open up the milk, bro, just in case. Just in case, alright.
Go, go, go.